Hey guys, in this video we will be looking at the Entra Admin Center, what you can do with the Agent 365 license in the Entra Admin Center. If it's creating conditional access policies, creating agent blueprints, and also making sure that the sponsors are taken care of if they leave a company. So basically the life cycle of sponsors using workflows. So stay to the end of the video and we'll create a simple workflow that will work for the sponsors that leave your company. So basically, this is a continuation from the first video where we talk about the M365 Admin Center, and now we'll be looking at the Entra Admin Center. So let's look at this. So we've worked through this with Ida, and now we are working with Jonas. If you haven't watched the walkthrough of the Mac, you can go back there and watch. So what can agents do in the Entra Admin Center? What can the admins do? So as you know, we have the agent identity platform, and for now there is let me just switch to a pen. So you have the user identity, which is made for humans. This is the identity where I join a company and I get my user identity, Wario at Microsoft.com, or Wario at another company.com. I get my MFA, I get my authenticator, and I get access based on my role. And then from there, it's a lot of deterministic moves where I just press into apps, and there is no brain like there is a brain in me, but not the LLM that runs by itself and has access to many tools. Service principle, I will not take a lot of time explaining this. It's just made for web services, and you keep the secrets in your Azure platform or you keep them in your key vaults. And then you have the agent identity, which is today's topic. So this is basically made for AI agents. You got the blueprint, which is issued, and you get the federated credentials. They are inheritable and scope limited and retirable. So without wasting your time, let's look at the three constructs of the agent identity. First, you have the agent blueprint, and then you have the agent ID and the agent user account. This is a unique case, which we already covered in the first video about AI teammates and how in the Mac where we actually deployed the sales development agent. And in here, you will have the blueprints. This is IT approved. It holds the credentials, it has the permissions, the sponsors, network controls, and one blueprint yields to many agents. If you remember the first video, we created we deployed the sales development agent, which created a blueprint. And from there, you can create instances of agent identities in the blueprint. So the blueprint is kind of the persistent thing here. It has all the credentials, it has the sponsors, it has the permissions and everything. Then you have the agent identity, which is kind of a service principal, which is created from this blueprint. And it is a single tenant for now, has no credentials and authenticates via FIC. So Blueprint has all the credentials. This is just the service principal that is used to authenticate to the services downstream. So let's take a look at downstream. What is downstream? This is, for example, a graph connector or MCP server or another API. So there is no credentials on the agent. They have just the agent ID. The credentials are in the blueprint, and then you validate the federation with the OAuth 2.0 token. The token is once it gets the token, it authenticates to the resource. So this is the workflow. You begin with the blueprint, then the agent gets the token from the blueprint or Entra ID, and then it goes ahead and connects or gets authenticated to the resource that is relevant in the agent's case. So let's take an example of the Copilot Studio blueprint. So if you want to find this, you can go to Entra Admin Center and you will find all the overview here. And then you have the agent blueprints and the agent identities. So if you choose agent identities blueprints, you will see the blueprints here. And Copilot Studio gets a blueprint once it's turned on. I think it's turned on by default for the tenants now. Check your Power Platform environments and look at this. So you will see that you have the blueprint and 19 agent identities. And here you can see the different blueprints for the different agents that I've deployed in my tenants. Once you have the blueprints, you will be able to see the agents inside the blueprint. So I created this auto agents CV, which is active, and I can dive deeper into the active agent and look at the sponsors. This is you will have the owners. So this is In this case, this is an ownerless agent. To be honest, I don't think this is the case. But you have the blueprint app ID, and then you have the object ID, and then you actually have the agent blueprint itself, which is the Copilot Studio agent blueprint. If there was some access here, you will have the agent identity access. You can see the permissions and Entra roles. This agent ID or this agent ID has been granted. Then you have the conditional access policies and the access packages, which you can view and change from here. So talking about conditional access, there is two patterns. You have the autonomous agents, and this is where the client credential flows. And here you have agent identities. These are basically, I would say, teammates, AI teammates that will be running, and they will need to authenticate without a user present, for example. They are autonomous. They run 24/7 if you want to. And you can, for example, set custom attributes like agent approval, HR approved. Once it's HR approved, you can continue. The agent can continue doing whatever it's doing. Sorry for the messages. Target policies and attributes, you will see that what attributes you actually target. So if it's approval status, you can target sensitive information, risky usage, or agent risk levels, and you can block agents that flags high risk. This is on behalf of agent or on behalf of user. So it's user delegated flow. User signs in, exchange happens as we already discussed. The CA policy applies to the user, not the agent. So that's it for that case. So here is a simple conditional access policy. You navigate to home, conditional access policies, and you will see here that you can choose agents or users and groups. So if you choose agents, you will actually be able to include or exclude. So here, let's say I have a HR agent that I want to exclude from requesting sensitive information. So no, I want to block agents from requesting sensitive info. But for the HR agent, which I know will be having sensitive info, I want to exclude the agent. So that is a conditional access policy for the agent. You actually block the rest and just exclude the HR agent, which makes your it makes your attack not attack, but your the risk. It lowers the risk of having sensitive info in agents that don't need to have sensitive info. If you want to block agents with high risk, you can also do this. So for this, you will create a conditional access policy and then choose block. The name is block agents with high risk, and from there you can decide which agents will be included. Here you can choose the risk level. So if it's a very high risk or medium, and remember to enable the policy down here, or you can only have report only. So that's how you block agents with high risk using conditional access policies. So what is the life cycle? This is a question I get a lot from my and the people I've worked with, my friends who do this too. So one is provision. So agent blueprints, they can be created through the graph, and you can use agent identity, create as manager, or you can just create in the Entra ID admin center. And then you have the sponsor. This is an accountable group. These are the people who handle the operations. These people will be the ones that are kind of responsible for this agent if the owner leaves. So the accountable and owners is operations. Basically, these can be consultants that come in and build the agents, and they are owners for the agents the period they're there. And then you have the accountable group, that is the business unit that actually owns this. Operate, this is conditional access packages we just showed, not network control in effect. So think about this as every day-to-day business. So if the agent will be using sensitive info, you have to set them in the operate. And if they are going to be blocked with high risk, you have to set them here too. Monitor, you have the sign-in logs, and this is in the agent overview. You can see it here actually. Here are the sign-in logs. And once you're in there, you can see the sign-in logs for each agent. And once you're done, you can also see the risks, and you can also monitor this from the M365 admin center, as we already discussed in the last video. And the most important one is actually retire or delete the agent, because you actually need to disable the blueprint so that once it's done, it doesn't remain as a risk for the organization, which shouldn't be existent. So in this context, make sure that you actually retire them so that you close the door for that blueprint or the agent identities in there, which also have service principals, become a risk for your organization. So the sponsor leaves the company, what happens? So if a sponsor leaves the company, you can do a couple of things. You can go to ID governance and choose lifecycle workflows. And in there, you will be able to create, let's say, a sponsor job profile change, or the sponsor leaves the company. You can create a workflow that actually goes through this. You configure the scope. For my case here, I say account enabled equals false. So this account was disabled. What do you want this to do when the account is disabled? I want it to send an email to the manager about sponsorship changes and transfer the agent to manager. So this is important because now we are talking about the life cycle again. Ownerless agents is not something you want. It's most probably non-compliant in most of the companies. It is a liability and a risk. So be careful while doing that. So I will quickly take you through the admin center to show you how this works. So forget all my tabs there. So we are in the Entra admin center, and here you can see agents. And in the agents, you will have the blueprints, you will have the identities and the sign-in logs. So in these tenants, you will see that I have 49 agents identities and 10 created and managed, no owners, no sponsors. This will be flagged here. Agents user account, let's look at this. This is agents with user accounts. I guess this is the sales development agent. So this is one of them that I created in the last video. It has a user account, and you will be able to see the alias and everything for this agent here. So that is it for the agents with user accounts. But let's go back to the overview again. So in the overview, you will have the agent blueprints created in this tenant, added from another tenant. So added from another tenant in this context is Microsoft created. So you will see the ones that come from Microsoft. And I guess those are the different ones here. So you see the Opal agent, Microsoft Copilot Studio, production sales agents are the ones that I created. This one and digital worker. And I also created test agent BP here. So those are the agent blueprints. And in the blueprint, we can go and check different things. So the blueprint has the overview, which shows you the app ID and the blueprint principal object ID. Then you have the linked agent identities. Now the instances of the agent that follow this blueprint with the accesses, with the sponsors and the owners. So this is the linked agents, and then you have the owners and the sponsors. So agent blueprint owners, they will be here, but this is configured outside of my organization. So that will not work. In this context, we have granted permissions, which is Microsoft Graph, and agent identity create as manager. So create agent identities linked to itself. So once you create a Copilot Studio agent, it gets actually created and linked to this blueprint. So the manifest is here. The credentials are also here if you want them. But let me take you back to the self-created agents, like the platform, not the platform created, but the ones that I've created myself. Sorry, not agents, but blueprints. So I have this test agent BP. And in the test agent BP, you can see the agent identities, the owners, and the sponsors. So let's take a look at the owners and sponsors. So here is the mod administrator, that is the full owner, and you have the mod administrator, that is the sponsor, which is the same person. Then you have the agent blueprint principal, same thing here. We have the same owners. Permissions will also be, you will either give them admin consent, the ones that are admin consented, and then you have the user consent here. You can audit the sign-in logs and the audit logs, and you can check also the sign-in logs for each of these. So that's actually it for the agent blueprints. You can see the audit logs for agent blueprint activity, and then you have the agent blueprint principal activity. So that's it for the agent blueprints, and you can see the identities, all of them here, and their object IDs. And you can create a new agent identity here. So I can push a new agent identity and select a blueprint from here. You select the blueprint. Let's take, this is a disabled. I will take test agent PP. They provide digital worker. So next, you choose the owners and the sponsors, and from there you create. So once you've created this agent ID, you can go to the agent ID, and you have the digital worker 2.0 here. So then from there, you can actually look at the conditional access. So what do we do with the conditional access policies? Which policies are actually set up for these types of agents? You can create a new policy, or you can create a new policy from templates. So if you choose from templates, you can find the, let's take for example, sorry, agents. So block high risk agent identities from accessing resources, block agent with high risk, and block assistive agent flows with high risk. So let's take, for example, this one here, the review and create, and we are blocking agent users with high risk. And what we are doing now is we are just reporting. So you can turn it on if you want to, and you can choose the cloud apps and actions, all apps, agent identity levels, risk, high, and then you can create from the template. So I have it on as report only because I don't want to close stuff in my tenant. And you can also create a new policy from scratch. So this is, if you know, if you know what type of policy you want to create, you can also create them from here, from scratch, and you can use in here. So once you choose agents, you will see all agents identities, all agent users, which is in preview. You can select the agent identities you want, and you can also select the agent users, which is still in preview. So if I select agent identities, so I can look at here, target resources, and I see all agent resources, or I can choose all resources, formerly clouds and apps, and the conditions. You can choose user risk here. If it's medium, high, low, that's not allowed for actually. And you can grant the accesses here, require multi-factor authentication, which is not really viable in this case. But again, we can go to unconditional access, and the ones which I recommend using are actually these ones that are pre-created for you. And you can, let's say, choose this and review here and create. So that is for the agent in here. But if you want to do only conditional access, you can go over to the conditional access section and actually, let's see, conditional access, and actually create a new one. Let's go home. Don't save anything there. Conditional access, and create a new policy from templates. And you can also see the policies from here. So you can block agents, the policies that I already have put on, and you can see it's only reports only with the policies that I already have. So agents with high risk, this is all agents users, which is in preview, and I can choose agent identities. But in this case, remember to just navigate to conditional access policies and decide on what policies you want to have on what blueprints or what agent users. So this is something that your organization has to discuss and find a way to mitigate the risks by setting up your own conditional access policies. So now we have covered most of the things in here. We have seen the agents, agent blueprints, and you can create actually a new blueprint from here, which is in preview. When you create a new blueprint from here, you will call, let's call it YouTube print, and next you choose the administrator, you choose the owners and the sponsors. Once it's created, you can start adding the agents here. You can start adding owner and change the owners and sponsors. You can set up your permissions from here. So that is what you can basically do in terms of this stuff here with the agent ID and the blueprints and the conditional access. But we can also look at workflows, and here we can actually look at workflows, and you can search by name, and you can create a new workflow as usual, and you can choose a template. So here you can see all the different templates: employee, job profile, change, and here we have the ones for the agents. So for the agent, you have agent sponsored job profile change and off-board agent sponsors. So executive, this is for the one for executive sponsorship, transitions tasks when agent sponsor leaves. So let me select this so that we can see what's in here. So the basics is that you have the name, the description, and then you have the administrator scopes. This defines the workflow and the management scopes. We will configure the scope here. It's a time-based attribute, or you can trigger when daytime, but we can trigger based on selected attributes. And let's say this user changes department, or the user changes the user changes organization. In this case, if a user changes a department, we want to configure a scope and say department equal marketing. And if the user changes from marketing, then We review the tasks. We send an email to manager about sponsorship changes, send an email to co-sponsors, and send transfer agent sponsorship to managers, of course. So you do this. Let's see here. They're all enabled actually. And now I can review and create. And you can schedule the workflow here if you want to enable schedule. And this is rule based. It's not time based. If your company needs to do this every day, just set time based here and you can run it every day and that's done. So you can create it from here. And once you have created it, you will have a workflow that actually offboards agent sponsors. And then you have the other workflow that looks at agent sponsorship job profile changes. So this is attribute changes. The other one you can choose group membership changes or whatever you decide to have in your what do I say in your organization. If you want account enabled, which says if the user's account is disabled, then you can let's see here. Yeah, I don't need all of this. Account enabled is false. Then oh, I really don't need to go in here. Ah, okay, this is good. So you have the user properties. You can see the different properties in here and the ones that you can track. But anyways, if the is equals to false, I want to review the tasks, send an email to manager, is enabled, and transfer agent to sponsorship to manager. So I review and create that too. Enable schedule workflow. And once this is done, you will be to trigger when these attributes change for each user. So you can yeah, you can do that for your what do I say, all your sponsors, so that if they leave the company, the manager gets an email and the sponsorship is transferred. So this is for agent blueprints. That's good to know for each company. So guys, in this video, we have actually covered a lot of ground. We have gone through a lot of the whole provisioning. You've seen how you can create blueprints, how you can add sponsors, how you can operate with conditional access and packages, and you can where you monitor the sign in and audit logs in the agents overview in Entra Admin Center, and how you delete. So deletes I've not shown you, so I can actually show you how to do this quickly. So in the agent section here, you will have all the blueprints, and I already have disabled one blueprint, which is called a digital worker. I can go in here and enable it again, and I can also delete this blueprint. So I will actually delete this. Before deleting, I will check which agents are connected to this, and I have a digital worker and this an agent here, one agent identity. Okay, I don't care. So I can delete this from here and delete. Once you delete it, the agent identity is gone. Is restorable. This is restorable for 30 days. This is important to note. So it's not just gone once you delete it. You can restore it. So let's check if it's gone from here. The agent blueprints, digital worker. Yeah, it's gone. And that's good. And now one thing I didn't show you too, it's the audit logs. In here you have the audit logs, which you can check for the different agents. So again, back to what we covered. We have now shown you how to delete the agent, and you can also disable it. And once you have deleted, you have 30 days to bring the agent back. So guys, thank you for watching this video. And the next video will be about, let's see, about Purview, I think. Yes, we will discuss Purview and Agent 365 in Purview. So stay tuned and watch the next video. Thank you, guys.